Hi, I'm Deandra Simmons and welcome to Simply Simmons. And today I'm making my family favorite fried cabbage patties. In the South, instead of eating a vegetable raw or boiled, we like to fry them. So we pretty much fry everything. So today I'm frying up some cabbage, and of course I'm going to add some meat to it and some vegetables. So it's semi-healthy, but it's very delicious and guaranteed to be a family favorite. So let's get started. First, you'll need either a whole head of cabbage or a half a head of cabbage, and you need to chop it up. Now, there's only 2 to 3 of us for dinner normally, so what I like to do is just cut this green cabbage in half, and then I'm going to cut it like this. Yes, my knives are a little bit dull. So, and then you're going to go back like so. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put it in the strainer, and I'm going to take it over to my pot of boiling water. So the other parts of this recipe are 1 whole onion. So if you are using a whole head of cabbage, you're going to use 2 onions, but since I'm only using the half head of cabbage, I'm just going to use 1 onion. And finally, dice it. So the other thing about this recipe that I like to add to it is just 1 carrot, and I like to grate it. So just grating it here on this part of the grater. I'm going to put either bacon or speck or guanciale. I had some guanciale in the refrigerator. I also had some speck that I got from Italy. So I'm just gonna finely, as fine as you can because it's kind of a tough meat, chop the speck. So when I'm finished with this, it's about 1/4 pound of the bacon speck or guanciale, which I did a little bit of mixture of the speck and the guanciale. We've got 1 carrot, and we have, for my recipe, we have 1 onion and half a head of cabbage. So let's move over to the stove. And of course my garlic is going to be 2 cloves of garlic that are going to be minced, that are going to go into the end of this process. Okay, I found my garlic mincer. I'm going to go ahead and prep my garlic. So at the very end of the cooking cycle, at the very end of cooking my onions and my speck and guanciale, I can just go ahead and finish up with the garlic. So let's move to the stove. The first thing I need to do is to boil my cabbage in some hot salted water. So I brought my cabbage to the stove. I'm going to add some kosher sea salt into my water, which is almost boiling. Okay, so cabbage goes in. 10 minutes. Some people do it 5 minutes, some people do it 20 minutes. I've seen all versions of the recipe. I settled on 10 for my own personal preference. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon of olive oil to start anyway, even though we're using fatty meats. Okay, that's a little more than 1/4 pound. We can start with that and see what happens. So it's kind of just, you know, if you're doing bacon, maybe 1/4 to a half of the whole package of bacon. You know, I have my 1 onion. Now I'm going to put in my 1 diced onion, and I went back and diced a little bit more. Okay, I'm also going to add my carrots in there as well, in time. I'm going to let these cook until they're a little translucent. I may add just a touch more of my olive oil here because those cured meats are not quite as fatty as the bacon would be. So you see my cabbage is boiling over here, and we're about, let's see, a few minutes away. So we'll let that cook down a little bit longer, and then at the very end I'm going to put in my garlic. Okay, so my timer has just gone off for my cabbage, so we are ready to strain. Okay, I'm going to turn that off because we don't want the garlic to burn. I'm actually going to move this back. Right there. I'm going to take my cabbage and I'm going to move to the stove and I'm going to drain it. So I have strained the cabbage, but I'm going to go back in with a flour sack towel or paper towels, whatever you want, and dry it even more. I'm going to take this cabbage, put it in here. I'm going to take this mixture of the onion and if you want bacon, but I have guanciale and speck here. Now I'm going to mix this up. So next I'm going to take 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I just used the Central Market unbleached all-purpose flour. I'm going to add that in now. So now I'm going to add my 2 eggs that I went ahead and whisked in the bowl before. That way they get all incorporated the right way. I'm going to go back in. At this point, I'm going to use my seasoned pepper, which I love a lot. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of Lowry's seasoned pepper. Also use some freshly ground pepper. Then I'm going to add a few dashes of trusty Tabasco sauce, or any sauce you like. Actually, maybe more than a few. It's kind of up to you. And then I've tested lots of things, but I really like the body of seasoned salt with this dish, all-purpose seasoned salt. So I'm going to start by putting in 1 teaspoon, and then I'm going to taste and see if we need anything else. So I'm back at the stove, ready to start on my cabbage patties. So I'm just going to use some vegetable oil in my non-stick Hexaclad pan. Put some oil on your hands and it'll make it easier to make these cabbage patties. And drop them in there. So if you want them small or big, or, I like to not overcrowd the pan. So we're a little bit over 350, but we need to be around 350. That's pretty much the color that you want, right here. I wish it hadn't been fried so fast, but this one's gonna be better because I have gotten my oil under control now. Now this dish is perfect with any southern meal. I don't care if you have a meatloaf and mashed potatoes, you can have cabbage patties, you can have it with pork chops, you can have it with, pretty much anything. I'm gonna make sure that I pat these really well to get a lot of the oil out. I'm going to take them over to my platter and I'm going to serve them with my dipping sauce. So there you are. Here are my fried cabbage patties. And I also made my version of a very yummy yum sauce. And I will make sure I include that recipe. So this is going to be part of our dinner tonight. And I just want to show you, this looks like that. That's what it should look like. Still steaming hot. I'm going to put a little bit of this sauce on here, whatever sauce you like. I know you want some dog, but don't get that excited. Oh my god. That is so good. If you like this recipe, please hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Deandra Simmons, Simply Simmons. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Twitter, not that exciting, but you can follow me. I may say something every once in a while that's not appropriate. You never know. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know what you think about this recipe and about my yum sauce. Okay, bye-bye.